Come on, Alex.
Coming! I wish I could go walking with you every day, Grandpa.
Yeah, it's been a very nice day. We've seen lots of different things, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, steady up. Be quiet. Can you see over there?
What?
On that grassy, sandy bank over there.
Oh, yeah, cool. A rabbit. Can we take it home?
No, I'm afraid we can't, Alex. You see, this is its home.
Where?
Oh, everywhere. You know, rabbits weren't always free to run about like this. But I'll tell you what, we'll go through those trees because there's something on the other side I think you should see.
Cool.
Come on, let's go. There we are.
Whoa! A castle!
Almost. This is Thetford Warren Lodge.
What's a Warren Lodge?
Well, it was a place that was originally owned by the church and then that was passed over to wealthy landowners. The people who lived in there were very trustworthy and looked after the rabbits on the warren because they were so important.
But rabbits aren't important. They're just pets.
Yeah, well, hundreds of years ago they were very, very special and not everyone could have them. Of course, the whole of the Brecks were very different back then. There weren't even any of these trees.
Really?
Yeah, it was just short grass, sandy soil. Ideal for growing rabbits.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years ago, the Warren Lodge looked really different. It was on 2 floors. Downstairs was full of equipment and tools, and rabbit furs would have been hanging everywhere to dry. The windows were so small it would have been really dark inside, and they would have to work by candlelight to see what they were doing. The whole family lived upstairs in the one room. At the heart of the room there was a big fireplace which was used to keep the lodge warm. Oh, and to cook the family meals. They lived there all year round, and it was their job to work the land. They had to maintain the warren banks, and of course, also take care of the rabbits. You know, catching them was a very skilled job. They would use snares to get them. They would even use specially trained animals, like lurcher dogs and ferrets, to flush the rabbits from their burrows and drive them into their nets. The warrener would bring the rabbits back to the lodge, where the fur would be removed and the meat would be prepared. The family took what they needed to survive, and the rest of the meat and furs would be bundled up, ready to be sold. You see, gradually, the demand for rabbit fur grew. They went from selling a few rabbits here and there to selling hundreds at a time. They would even transport the furs as far as London. They traded more and more, and large sums of money became involved, and rabbit warrening became a huge industry in the Brecks. In fact, they became so valuable over time that up until the 17th century, even kings and queens wanted to dress in clothes decorated with rabbit furs. Have you heard of Henry VIII? He was one of England's most famous kings. You know, his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, requested rabbit furs from this very warren to be sewn into her royal gowns. The monks at the local priory even presented the Queen with the gown on her visit to Thetford. As the industry grew, so did the warren. The problem is, the more valuable something becomes, the more you have to protect it. You see, back then, only the most trusted people would be employed to work at the warren. But there were plenty of people who wanted to steal the rabbits to earn a bit of money and to feed their families. So the warren had to be fortified. Armed guards were employed to protect the warren and patrol the land. People would sometimes raid the warren. They would try to steal the rabbits. They were called poachers. They would have their own equipment and use their own nets and snares. Sometimes they would even work in organised gangs. They would arm themselves with all sorts of weapons. The Warreners would even set up special tripwires attached to guns. Unlucky poachers could set these off and be injured. But poaching was risky. If they got caught, they could face dire consequences. There are even accounts of poachers being shipped off to Australia as punishment. Over the course of time, more and more fur was being imported from abroad due to the high demand. Now, because there was more fur than ever, the price dropped. With the growth of trade, fur became more common and other more desirable fabrics became available. This meant that rabbit fur from the Brecks was used mostly for the felt in hats rather than luxurious robes. Then a law was passed that allowed people other than the Warrener to hunt rabbits. It became, well, more of a sport, and people began shooting for fun and to keep rabbits off their crops. But like all things, when more people are involved, accidents are likely to happen. No one knows exactly what happened, but about 80 years ago now, a great fire broke out and completely destroyed the lodge. The roofs would have been thatch and the beams and floor would have been wood, so the fire took hold and went out of control. It destroyed the lodge, and the family were forced to flee. And this is all that survived. Funny, really. All that history gone in a flash and forgotten. Hidden away behind all these trees until recently. There's a lot of history in the Brecks area. Lots of forgotten stories. Come on, let's get you home.